Walk in the light, beautiful light. Come where the dewdrops of mercy are bright. Shine all around us, by day and by night. Jesus, the light of the world. Welcome in all of God's children, for we know that darkness cannot hide from the light. Whatever is truth, it will come to the surface. And the lies of the enemy are not exempt from this. We know that the narcissist will specialize in deceit, but deceit is no match for the truth, and darkness is no match for the light. Darkness and deceit will be overturned and will be overthrown by both the truth and the light. Psalms 85:11. Truth shall spring forth out of the earth. So if it's springing forth, there's not much any of us can do to stop that. It's going to come forth. Psalms 43:1. Vindicate me, O God, and plead my cause against an ungodly nation. O deliver me from the deceitful and unjust man. And that was exactly my prayer. I wanted to be delivered from an unfaithful spouse, someone that I couldn't trust, someone that I could no longer believe in, someone that I no longer felt safe with. I asked God to show me the way. I asked Him to reveal certain things to me, give me clarity and understanding. And He did just that. Because I always decided that I was never going to follow my spouse. I wasn't going to get in my car and follow him to see where he went. A lot of times I knew that the preface or story that he told me didn't add up, it didn't match, didn't make sense. And so I was left to kind of figure out things on my own to try to decipher his lies and things like that. But the Lord will always reveal things to you because the Lord is the truth. And then He gives you the Holy Spirit, and the Holy Spirit is going to reveal all things to you. So my ex-spouse had a terrible habit of staying out very late. And when I say late, staying out until 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. He had this habit of leaving around 10 p.m. And he had lots of different excuses about why he was leaving. He would say, "Oh, I just want to spend some time to myself. I just want to ride around in my truck and think to myself, I'm going to be alone. There's not going to be anybody with me. I'm a night owl. I don't like to be in the house. I'm not a homebody." Different excuses like that. But the one that he used the most, believe it or not, the number one excuse was, "I'm going to Walmart." Now, I don't like going in Walmart. It stresses me out. I have anxiety attacks going into Walmart. So I don't even go in there anymore. I have to just kind of rely on grocery pickup. But it's too much, different energy in there. I'm not able to handle it. So I don't like going in there. Um, but my spouse at the time seemed to like to go every single night to Walmart. Don't know how necessary that was, but that's what he said. So I find out later, of course, Walmart was just the cover up. So he would go see whoever he wanted to see at around 10 p.m. And then on his way back from seeing that person, he would stop into Walmart. And so he would come home every night with a Walmart receipt and a little small bag from Walmart, which was his cover up. The gaslighting from the narcissist can get to be really, really bad. They have this repetitive behavior so much to where you start second guessing yourself when you confront them about it. I remember confronting the narcissist about, going to Walmart every single night and hanging out that late every single night. And he would say to me, "Well, you're just exaggerating. I don't go out every single night." And it got to the point to where, things were kind of blurry to me. The lines were kind of blurred. And it got to the point to where I had to actually write down and keep a log of, Wednesday, he went out at night and he said he was going to Walmart, and I would write it down every single time it happened. I came across a log that I had been keeping for the end part of October 2020. And ironically, October 2021, my divorce was finalized. So I didn't keep the log to just pop out and say, "Aha, I gotcha, I caught you." It wasn't like that. The log was because of the gaslighting, to make sure that, what I was seeing and what I was thinking, what I was feeling was actually valid, because the narcissist has a way of making you think and feel that, you know, things aren't what they seem. It's a very despicable thing to do to a person. You know, it's very unfair and it's very cruel. In addition to keeping the log, I also found myself rewinding the Ring doorbell camera to see the image of him coming in so I could see the timestamp that he came in, at any particular time of morning, so that I would have something concrete to look at and say, yes, I did see what I saw. I did know what I knew. And the narcissist can't try to gaslight me and say it never happened. So, being that I wasn't going to get in my vehicle and follow him anywhere, I did resolve to talking to God about it, and I asked God to give me proof. And that's just something that I needed to be able to be okay with walking away. I didn't want to have to wander and ponder all the time. And there would be times where he wouldn't tell me where he was going. And so I always felt like I never knew where my own spouse was. So if something were to happen to him, if something were to happen to our child, I wouldn't know what to tell a police officer because, he didn't tell me the truth. I have no idea where he is. And I feel like that it should never be like that. If you're married, you should know where your spouse is. So I remember praying quite frequently and asking God to reveal things to me, to show me the truth, to show me what I needed to see. And I remember one day, I think I went outside to take out the trash or take some trash up from the yard that had blown into the yard. And I went over to the driveway to my spouse's vehicle and I opened the door for whatever reason. It was just random, really. I was prompted, actually. And when you open the door, there's like a side panel on the car door, the driver's side door. And the spirit told me to reach in there. And I did. And I pull out, a pair of, I think they're a pair of winter gloves. And I don't know why, but the spirit told me to look inside of the gloves. And I did. I thought it was, a bit strange, but he told me to look inside the gloves. Now I picked up the gloves. I couldn't, they just seemed like gloves. But when I looked inside the gloves, there were condoms in there. Now, that's very ironic. Gloves inside of gloves. But apparently, my ex spouse had the gloves on deck. He had them ready to go. So whenever he got over this woman's house, this girl's house, all he had to do was reach into his glove and get a glove. He was prepared. So he was definitely getting busy, and he was being busy, but it wasn't at home. So I did what any wife would do. I confronted him about it and asked, what is this? What's going on? And he tells me that they're not his, that they belong to his best friend, and that he was holding them for him. I've never known another grown man to need another grown man to take care of his his parts down there. Doesn't make sense to me. But there again, they think you're just the most dumbest, stupidest person in the world. And so they think they can just tell you anything and expect for you to just accept it. So it definitely started to make sense, why you're coming in at 2 and 3 o'clock in the morning. It's because, you got your rounds to make, literally. So needless to say, I'm crushed and devastated, but at the same time, I kind of feel relieved to have some kind of clarity, to finally have an answer, to finally feel like, okay, I'm not, imagining things. I'm not making things up. I'm not going crazy. This is actually happening behind my back. So, in addition to the gloves, I was also led to some text messages. Wasn't looking for them or anything like that, but apparently he had two separate cell phones that were always face down all the time. That was one red flag there. But there was his work phone, which I would think should be just used for work. But I found some very, very, very questionable text messages on this work phone. Basically, an invitation for a booty call. That's what I found. So, even more, insult to injury, even more devastation on top of what I previously found out. It's very easy to take stuff like this personal, like start feeling like, you're not good enough, you're not good at, you know, keeping a man, you're not good at, satisfying your spouse. And, you go through all of those emotions also, but then you start to realize that it really doesn't matter what you do. If someone decides that they want to step outside of the marriage, that's what they're going to do. It's a decision. It's not something you just fall into. It's not something you just, it happens by accident. It's by happenstance. No, you actually make a decision. You take action towards, something that's wrong and something that's against the marriage. You definitely made a choice. And things like this also tend to kind of make you angry, like very angry. And it also makes you a little bit hyper vigilant because it's like, okay, I found these things, and what else is out there? What else is it that I don't know? So you start being a little bit, of a vigilante. And so when I found these things, I kind of started to, gather myself so that I could go ahead and get a divorce. And so for me, I am one of those people, I do want proof. I have to have proof to be settled. And if I was going to fight in court, I definitely wanted to have some proof when I went into court. So once I made my decision that I was going to divorce, I did purchase a tracking device and I placed it on his vehicle. And I began to try to, figure out, you know, where he was actually going. Now, like I said, this was just for court, and it was also for me to have a peace of mind to be settled. So I can finally have answers to all these questions that I sat up all night long and pondered about, and I had no resolution for. Constantly wondering where my husband was, ruminating over and over again about this situation. And so I got some surprises there too with the tracking device, and it was very MacGyver like. Like I had to wait till he got ready to go out for the night. And then when he got in the shower, then I would be outside like Rambo, and I would be crouching down low. And I would be putting that tracker device, under his truck. And, when it was time to charge it, I knew when it was time to charge it because I would get a little alert. And so the tracking device told me, different apartment complexes that he was going to. He did a lot of frequenting to the adult bookstore. Okay, if you know what I mean. Lots of that. That was pretty much every night. So he definitely had quite a few addictions going on. And so he was really, he was really out there. Um, and so when it's like that, there's not really much you can do um, to satisfy a person like that, because lust is something that can't be quenched. When you constantly feed it like that and it's overkill, it's out of control by then. So there's not much that you can do. And, I just came to realize that one person is never going to be enough for him because he's excited lust like that. And so it's pretty much out of control. So some takeaways for me, I would say was, to look for these signs very early on. Um, if you have someone that you're dating or married to and they're into the, you know, nasty movies and stuff like that, nasty videos and things like that, that's something you want to pay attention to let you know that they may have a lust spirit on them, that you might need to part ways with that person or encourage them to get some help about that. Any kind of disrespectful behavior towards you would be another red flag that you want to pay attention to. Um, you have to watch out for any and all deceit. When they lie to you about the simplest of things, that's something that you want to pay attention to as well, because if they lie about those small things, you can best believe they're going to lie about the major things. When a person just has a general lack of boundaries, they don't care about, curfews and being in the house at a certain time. They don't care about the law of the land. That's another indication as well that, a person, they can't be faithful to the laws of the land. They can't be faithful to, your house. Then they're not going to be faithful to you. They're just unfaithful in general. I don't think it's ever easy to leave a spouse, no matter what the situation is, but you know, you do have to consider, you know, everything, put all your pieces together and make a decision, as far as whether the marriage can be salvaged or not. You can have two people in the ring, but you can't make them fight. And so, if one person is fighting for the marriage and the other person is not, then it's not going to work. You got one person fighting against you and kicking and screaming and everything, but then you got an empathic person that wants to fight the good fight of faith. And so you guys are not even fighting the same fight. Job 24:15. The eye of the adulterer waits for the twilight, saying, no eye will see me, and he disguises his face. In the dark, they break into houses, which they've marked for themselves in the daytime. They do not know the light. For the morning is the same to them as the shadow of death. Do not worry about the evil things that people do, either behind your back or in front of your face, because in time, the truth will be revealed. The darkness cannot hide from the light. Therefore, always make sure that you walk into the marvelous light.